Hey kids, welcome home. I'm Mom, that's Azzy, and together we make chaos. So, art theft.
Art theft.
Why it's a big deal. Let's talk about it. So, for those of you that have been following Mom on more than just YouTube and know us more than just in Nate's Discord server, have seen what's been going around Twitter. There are 6, count them 6, Amazon stores right now that are using her art to attract attention to their stores to promote their own sales. It remains to be seen at this point if they are actually selling her art or if they're just doing bait and switch using her art to generate traffic to their pages. But supposedly it's being investigated horribly by Amazon, but we'll get to that in a bit. First and foremost, I'm going to turn it over to Azzy, and she's going to explain why using somebody's art that you love and appreciate and posting it somewhere, regardless of how you're doing it, why without their permission, it's a problem, and it's not just free publicity.
Okay, so there are minor occasions where it technically is okay if the creator has said, oh yeah, you can repost my art, I'm okay with that, yeah. And that's usually if they're not going to be making profit off of the art. Though if the creator has specifically said, please do not repost my art, I think that kind of points it up itself. But I probably have to explain why, because people tend to think, oh, it's just art. I spent like an hour and a half on that. Like, that's not as much as I did with like the entomologist piece of art with Kobe. That took me about 8 hours.
Well, this particular piece of art is now well over a year old, too.
Yeah, and it's old art.
So you're more detailed in what you do.
Yeah, and it might not look like, oh, the best piece of art, I shouldn't be whining about it, you know, because it's being stolen. But it's still my art.
I would not say that it's not a good piece of art, because clearly it is if other people are stealing it for their own benefit. So, sorry.
But it's just, it's flat out wrong to take someone's art and be like, yeah, let's throw this and make money off of it. Like, it did say in the description of it, oh, like, PressStart art, but they just copied and pasted what I put when I was selling it on Redbubble. And this happens a lot. So
instances where it would be considered okay, if you guys do follow Edward on Twitch, that profile picture that he uses on Twitch was drawn by Azzy. It used to be his YouTube and his Discord server profile pictures as well. He asked for that art. She gave it to him. He can use it now wherever he wants. He can wallpaper his walls with it.
though he cannot say, I drew this.
Correct. He would have to give proper credit to Azzy, but Azzy has given him exclusive permission to use that piece of art. Yes, my love.
Like, okay, so one thing about me is I don't mind if you repost my art or redraw my art as long as you give me credit, though you cannot make profit off of my art, please and thank you. Especially, well, like, I guess I don't mind as much if you redrew it, but please say that it is a version of my piece of artwork. Like, I've had people on TikTok be like, hey, can I draw this? I'll give you credit. And like, of course, if you give me credit,
And you've done that to other people as well.
Yeah, I do that a lot. And whenever I use, like, a base pose or whenever I reference something, I say, yeah, my reference was this. Though I tend to reference old art sometimes.
Well, in our channel mascot, you were inspired by a song.
Like, yeah, a song, a design of an already made character, and like 3 different pictures mashed together. You can't pick, well, technically you can pick one reference, but then you have to credit it. If you kind of mash a few together, it doesn't really matter as much, but if you're copying 100%, then yeah. Like when I made yours, and I posted on TikTok, I said that it was heavily inspired by Echo. Like the song Echo with Gumi singing it, and I believe it was either Circus P or Crusher P who made that. I'm probably messing that up because it could also be creepy.
We'll research it and we'll put it in the description again because, well, she took that song and those character pieces and made it clearly her own piece. She was inspired by that work. and we heavily thank them. And anytime we do talk about my profile picture, the channel mascots, we do give them credit where credit is due, because it was their original brainchilds that we supped some of the juices out of and made our own brainchild with.
Yeah.
So it's still an original character heavily inspired by other things, which is deemed okay.
And all of my art, except if I say specifically don't repost this, I allow people to repost with credit. That's something that I'm fine with. Though I have had an art theft before, who would steal me and one of my best online friends' art before, though they got taken down very quickly. But it's not okay.
Artists spend a lot of time on their individual works, and digital art isn't any less work.
People. Ooh.
Entomologist, which is one of your more recent pieces, is so detailed that it loses detail when you put it in color, so it will always be a black and white drawing. Nearly 8 hours of work for one piece of art. And with one fell swoop, somebody going out to her Redbubble store, where she is putting her art online, she is selling it to make a profit, and just copy and pasting one of the products that she's selling on her Redbubble store for whatever purpose they're using it for is wrong. The exact instance that we're talking about here, Azzy has a piece of, that's error, right? Mm-hmm. It's an old crying error, I believe is how you have it on. Crying error seance. This is before she got creative with naming too, because again, this piece is over a year old now. On her Redbubble store, and I will tag her Redbubble store, so credit to the proper artist, because it is a beautiful piece of art, worthy of apparently being stolen for Amazon. She does sell it on the exact product that they are using. So we have one of two things possibly going on with this Amazon thing. Either these people are doing one of those customize your own coffee mug things, and to get people to click on their particular product, they're using her art, and then you go in and you have to customize. That's one option. Otherwise, they're just flat out selling her art on a coffee mug. So one of two things is happening here, and both are equally bad. Now, the first instance may not sound as bad and may not sound like a big deal, but they're generating traffic to their store, getting people to click on them in particular, using her work and not their own. If you click on a link on Amazon for something customizable and you see a picture of a random family, you kind of assume that it's something that you're going to customize. If you are looking at a piece of art and it specifically references in the description a particular character that is well known for anybody who's in that fandom, they will want that mug. So you're either baiting and switching to get people to your site, be like, bait them in, here, look at all the pretty things we can do, but then they're not getting what they think they're getting. Or you're just outright stealing. Either way, shame on you. And now there are 6 stores on Amazon that are doing this. So for the sake of reference, for the kids at home, those who aren't doing art, when would something like what Amazon's doing be okay, or would it ever be okay?
It technically wouldn't ever be okay unless you took my art and made a different version of it. And even at that, it's still not right, because that is a product I made that you're pretty much copying. Though it's not as bad, like, you know, there's rip-off kinds, and I don't want to say rip-off because all art is, yeah, but you get what I'm trying to say. There's rip-off kinds of AirPods.
Idea theft.
Yeah. But it's not as bad. Yeah. It just isn't ever really okay, because...
Well, especially if they don't seek your approval, and we had no idea this was happening. I literally just was randomly, like, Googling PressStart art just to see where she would, you know, if anything would pull up, because she's still, you know, she's still new at this. She's, you know, 13 years old. And when I saw Amazon.com, that's when this was brought to my attention. So I would, for any of you artists out there, if you're selling on Redbubble in particular, because I'm going to have to reach out to them, because that's clearly where this theft originated. If you have a Redbubble store, you're selling your art anywhere, that's a second party seller that's allowing you to sell your merchandise, Google yourself. Or go into Amazon and search your art name on Amazon, because this could potentially be happening to you. Because Amazon clearly has no safety measures on their end. And I'm going to talk about Amazon for a minute. So I'm going to ramble on Amazon.
Can I really quick give an example?
Of course.
There is, like, 2 examples that are okay, but they aren't exactly like this. Like, if Unis Honest, you can't take their designs and resell them. That is extremely wrong, and you probably will get sued.
Anything that's directly Unis Honest is
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you have your own stuff that you made of Unis Honest, like, I have multiple friends who have stickers of, like, The Last Clock, or they have art of Unis and Honest posted on Redbubble. That's okay. And if, say, there is pictures from a TV show, and I'm going to use My Hero Academia as a reference, if you take a picture from that, put it on a t-shirt, and sell it on, like, Etsy or something, that's not as bad. Because people will be like, okay, that's my hero. It's not as good, but it's not as bad, because that is actually something that happens a lot. Yeah. That's, like, you know, a lot of people sticking the Friends logo on things.
Or using that design where it's the white letters with the rainbow colors in between the letters, but it's different words.
Yeah.
So still in those instances, I would tell you, if you're taking literally a screenshot from My Hero Academia and putting it on a shirt, I would probably discourage that. Unless you reach out to the creators, which you're probably going to have a hard time getting a response, because that's legitimately someone else hand drew, you know, even if it was done on like a Procreate or something like that. Somebody drew those images. That is somebody's art. Even if it's one single frame from, you know, a cartoon or an anime, that is a still frame of somebody who had to draw that particular image. But drawing your own fan art and things along those lines, she's heavily inspired by Undertale. You've drawn Fell and Buttercup so many times now, but it's your art, it's your interpretation. You legally can go out there and sell it. But if you're taking something that somebody else did and taking credit under yourself, it's the same thing with YouTube. I can, for the sake of commentary and fair use, like our video on Elliot Page, which is probably my favorite on the entire channel. If you haven't watched it, please go do it. Our video on Elliot Page, I was able to, and thank you, Jim, for the heads up on this, I was able to use Elliot Page's image in that thumbnail because we are fair use talking about Elliot and the genius of his career and how lovely it was, how most of, and there's been some negative afterwards, so we may do a part 2 on that video, the mostly positive experience that he had in finally being able to be comfortable coming out and being comfortable. But there are certain things that even if you're saying, hey, I'm using XYZ's person's art, if that person doesn't want that piece of art out there, they can pull it. There are pieces of art that she has drawn that we will never have for sale. We will never share with anybody but ourselves because they're deeply personal, very emotional. We look at them and we cry. So you don't know where that art came from, what the inspiration was, and what it means to the artist. You could unintentionally be causing more harm than just, I'm going to yoink this because I like it. Hey, it's free publicity. I'm telling them that it's yours.
Example of personal art, I have a picture that I posted on my TikTok when I was going through some extremely not okay stuff.
I remember this.
And I just called the picture similar for very specific reasons. Child grooming. I made that art as a vent when I was finally getting away from this person. And I don't want that being sold. That is my pain in a picture.
Anxiety.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We have several pieces that are your way of coping. I mean, seriously, look at any of her math assignments.
A lot of my original
coping mechanisms.
A lot of my Air Sans art that I did a while back is actually art that I made in the middle of a panic attack. And I literally have a piece of Ben art that I think is still my profile picture on YouTube that I drew in the middle of a panic attack. It was right during a tornado warning, so I was kind of dying.
It was a scary one too. So art is a deeply personal thing, which is why there's so much appeal and draw to it, and why so many people are drawn to beautiful imagery, and why manga and anime is such a huge thing, because there's so much emotion that can be conveyed through a single piece of art. And we love that people appreciate Azzy's art, and we love that people feel those feels and get those emotions looking at them. But it's her art, it's her emotions, it's her pain that she willingly will share with people who are genuinely kind, and she is receptive to people redrawing things, or if they give her credit using her art. But theft is wrong. It would be the same thing as if they walked into this house, took a piece of our art hanging on the wall, walked away with it and said, "This is mine. Finders keepers. This is mine. I'm going to take this and usurp it as my own." It's not okay, and it will never be okay. And I understand that from the standpoint of these sellers, they're probably, because of the way a lot of third-party sales are through Amazon, they may not realize that she's only 13. That
Doesn't make it right.
it doesn't. But these added levels of why you need to look into these things before you just steal art. This is a 13-year-old child who has been busting her butt ever since, well, at 6 months old, she was stealing my lipstick and drawing on my walls. But she does. She works very hard on the things that she does. Very, very hard. Do you have any other thoughts before I start talking about the Amazon piece? You can always cut me off and interrupt me, because that's what little dudes do. So my take on how Amazon has approached this is kind of threefold, I guess. First and foremost, it should never have been allowed to happen in the first place. If you're going to sell things on Amazon and you're going to present your product to the Amazon store, there should be a copyright box you have to check. I have to do that for my YouTube videos. I have to say I'm not using someone else's work. I have to say that I have legitimate fair use to the things I'm using. You have to be accountable for what you're putting on your store. And the fact that Amazon will just blazingly let anything onto their store is a problem. And Amazon needs to fix that. My second problem with it is the fact that if case A is what's going on here, and they are not selling the Error Sans art on their store, and it's just a customize your own coffee mug thing, why are they not being labeled for bait and switch? Why is no one saying, "Hey, I clicked on this link because this coffee mug's cool and I want this coffee mug, but I can't get that"? It doesn't say anywhere in the description for any 6 of the pages using this art that it's a customizable mug. No, it talks about Error Sans. It talks about PressStart art. It talks about Procreate. So you click on that description thinking you're getting a piece of PressStart art artwork on a coffee mug of Error Sans. That's another problem, Amazon. My third problem with it is the response that I've gotten from Amazon thus far. I immediately went to Amazon chat, spoke with a gentleman who was very kind and highly in favor of your art, thought you were fantastic, wanted to know the Redbubble store because he actually was an Undertale fan. Ironic, I know. He was great. But he said he had to forward it up the chain. If you're calling or you're talking to Amazon chat, the person that you talk to, if you've got a problem, should have power to fix your problem. And I understand in a situation like this where maybe it was a little bit more of a concern, he wanted it escalated so somebody higher up could take a look at it and maybe fix the bigger problem. I get that. But after he did that, an hour later, I get this stock email from Amazon talking about the steps that I can take to fix my problem. And it was clearly some stock email. I will share parts of it on screen. It was stupid. And it frankly made me mad. Then I get another email telling me that I'm not seeing a store under your email address, so I can't figure out what's going on from the seller standpoint. I'm not the seller. They look at these emails briefly. They either have some bot computer response where the like there's like 5 selections that they can pick for their responses, or they have individuals who are not reading the email complaints that are coming through. The responses I've gotten thus far from Amazon are stock replies or people who clearly do not know what we are asking for here. So here's what I'm asking for. Hashtag Answer Us YouTube was trending for a very long time. What's Amazon's turn? This is not okay. It is not acceptable, and I'm not going to tolerate it. I have so many kids on this channel that are artists themselves. I have so many kids that I know that are artists themselves, kids and grown-ups. And you especially don't mess with my biological. Mama goes on the defense. I'm wearing my Mama Bear shirt underneath this, by the way. It is never okay to take someone else's hard work and pretend that it is yours. It is never okay to not have somebody with the authority, the power, the mental capacity to answer your responses. Amazon customer service needs to do better. It's not acceptable that there are 6 stores now that are using her art to generate business to their stores, and regardless of whether or not they're actually physically selling her art, they are taking advantage of her hard work, her pain, her efforts for their own gain. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're 5. I don't care if you're 50. I don't care if you're 800 years old and you're a tortoise. You do not take the work of someone else and try to profit off of it. And if we do find out that anybody has attempted to use the Error Sans art and put it on these mugs, you're damn straight. Those financiers are going to go right back into this kid and sending her to college. It is not okay to profit off of someone else's work. YouTube has strict guidelines, and when somebody copyright claims your videos, they either take your monetization away or they flat out tell you got to take that video down. In the meantime, while all this has been going on, those stores remain up. They're there now. You can go to Amazon.com, you can search PressStart Art, all one word, and 6 stores where the Error Sans mug pop up. It is not okay. And it will be dealt with. Mama Bear don't play around. But the good side of this is we caught it, we saw it, we will fix it, and I will not rest until Amazon has better guidelines in place for what they allow on their stores. I don't care if you're a third-party seller, you still have guidelines, hoops, and obligations that you have to fulfill. It is not okay for people to just say, here's my product, prove it. I can sit here, I can go on Procreate, and I can show you the time lapse of her drawing this piece of art. It is hers. It is not yours. And we are taking it back. With that being said, our thank you shout out for today is an obvious slam dunk of a thank you. Within 5 minutes of my saying something in the Nbird Discord server, Nate was on Twitter saying it was wrong, demanding retweets, and demanding retweets again in his New Year's Eve live stream. It's making the rounds on Twitter. And of course, Amazon's like, oh, if you have a problem, come and do it, blah, 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 blah. No, Amazon, read what is happening.
No,
Stop.
Amazon.
No, hashtag no Amazon.
No, Amazon.
Start reading the things that people are sending to you. This is not as simple as send us a complaint. There already is one. There's already 2. There's at least 3. David went in there and did something today too. You have to do better and you have to do right. And it took Nate all of 5 minutes to get on his platform of 16,000 followers and say, this is wrong, do something about it, tagging Amazon, tagging us, and asking for it to be retweeted. So if you follow Nate on Twitter, please retweet that. Amazon needs to fix this. It's as big a problem as the problems that were going on with YouTube. And yeah, YouTube's gotten better. Things don't get better until we open our mouths and demand change. It's up to us. It's up to all of us. And again, I highly encourage any of you who sell art to double check and make sure that this isn't happening to you, because we need to fix this before it becomes an even bigger problem. So Nate, from the bottom of my heart, there is a reason why 862 subscribers to 16,000 subscribers. I tune into every live stream. I watch every video. I like every video. I try and comment on every video, because you are deserving of the praise, the recognition, and the thank you from your community. I would say you're a good egg, but that sounds like a really bad pun, considering your page is burnt. But thank you, because for you to, after so much growth, still genuinely care about all 16,000 of those individuals that hit that subscribe button, to take time out of your day and your posting of videos and recording videos and dealing with everything going on in your life, to even send that tweet. Yeah, it took you maybe 15 seconds, but it was a valuable 15 seconds that may have made all the difference. So our family members shout out, absolutely 1000% goes to Nate. I will put a link to his channel in the description. Please go give that man a sub. He's like right here as far as getting to 16,000, and he deserves 16 million. He's an amazing person. He's been so supportive of us along the way, sharing Azzy's art with the world as his profile picture. It means more than he'll ever know. So Nate, from the bottom of our heart, thank you. Amazon, do better.
No. Amazon.
Hashtag
No, Amazon.
Fix this, because it is not okay. It's not appropriate. And it sends a really bad message to anybody who wants to shop on or have a store on Amazon. We'll never sell on Amazon after this, unless something gets fixed, because there is absolutely no reason in the world why this should have gone as far as it did. Final thoughts? Besides yawning and throat noises behind your mask?
Bark.
Bark?
Bark.
Bark.
No, Amazon.
No, Amazon. Fix it. Amazon is grounded. Mom has put them in the corner. So that's where we'll end it for tonight. And I apologize, it was a little bit longer, but we needed to rant and we needed to vent, because it is not okay. But Mom's going to deal with it. I have ways. For tonight, I bid you all a very good, I did throat noises too. For tonight, we bid you all a very, very good night. No, Amazon. Good night, kids.